SABC has condemned the creation of so-called no-go zones in the build-up to the August polls. The African National Congress has condemned violence and intimidation in certain communities across the country.
Some residents have gone so far as to declare their areas no-go zones for particular political parties and electoral officials. In an exclusive interview with SABC, ANC Deputy Secretary General Jessie Duarte also spoke about the ruling party's election campaign.
Let me just say that there are few areas where people will not desist from dealing with list issues. However, I would say that 99% of the ANC's work now shows that people are electioneering, that we are in the election mode fully. You might have seen the president in Tshwane yesterday, hundreds of thousands of people turning up in an area that was a few weeks ago quite in an upheaval about lists and issues. Now, I think what has happened is that people do sober up, and the total reality is that lists cannot change because that is a legal list of the IEC. It's no longer our list, and it stopped being our list on the 22nd of June, and after that we could not do anything anymore. So obviously we have a very energized membership of the ANC who really take ownership of the processes in the organization, and in on the one hand that is very good. On the other hand, once the processes have ended, those who might not have been successful need to begin to understand their own democratic process is what it is. It can't change overnight, and I think that so when you say there are still upheavals, I've only counted one, and that was yesterday in Mpumalanga, and unfortunately, from what we understand, that was had a very interesting twist to it, because the person who was eventually arrested had an affiliation to another political party. So I think we must be very cautious about calling every situation of violence ANC internal violence. It's not like that. We are concerned about violence. We are concerned about the shootings of potential candidates, and we're also extremely concerned as the ANC about the shootings that have been taking place in KwaZulu-Natal since October last year. What we are doing is we have asked for a team of people to examine every incident, and obviously that might take time. We're not going to have a report until September or October, but in the meantime the perpetrators must be caught, and whether they are ANC people or not ANC people, hopefully the law will take its course and they will be brought to book. Anybody in the ANC who chooses violence chooses themselves outside of the ANC, and they can no longer be a member of this organization. We focus right now on campaigning to win an election. We're not discussing list processes or lists at the moment within the organization. We're talking about door-to-door campaigning, which we're doing. All our leaders are out in the streets as we speak, going door-to-door and addressing communities. So at this moment in time, our focus is totally on winning every ward. If we are going to look at a review, it will be after August or September. We're not doing that now. Right now, our message to every cadre of the ANC is focus on the election, focus on winning every ward. Our position on polling is that what it gives us, and we do listen, we look at those polls, we then go and check again to see maybe if we had not made a mistake. And we gauge our response directly from the people as a whole. So we don't look at samples of 3,000 people from a particular LSM who will have a particular opinion. And various people in a particular LSM, every LSM has a different opinion, depending on how poor or how wealthy they are, or how they've been serviced or not serviced. I would at this stage say that we are working flat out to win every ward. So we're not looking at who's neck or neck with us, who's ahead or who's behind us. We're looking forward, and we're saying that what we're seeing at the moment is not at all bad. The encouraging thing that we're getting, the message we're getting from the ground is, yes, there are challenges, but we will vote ANC. Many people are saying that directly to us, and part of the challenge that we face is that they're talking to their organization when they talk. They're telling their organization what they think should be happening when a new councillor comes into place. We're not arrogant, we think that voters have extreme integrity. They know what they want. They will vote in the way that they feel comfortable with voting, and thus far we're not uncomfortable. I want to say that to you, but we're not going to talk percentages, because it's very misleading to start talking percentages and a totally different percentage becomes the reality. Let's wait and see. Allow the voters to speak at the ballot, in the ballot box, and not let 500 people speak for 23 million people. On the SABC, honestly, I don't think we've said anything that is different or inconsistent. The ANC's policy position on the public broadcaster is that it is a public good, that the public broadcaster belongs to all the people of South Africa, and that when it comes to matters such as the freedom of expression, freedom of speech, the ANC's position is governed by the Bill of Rights and governed by 3 consecutive resolutions passed at ANC conferences, not by ANC committees, but at conferences, in which we restate our belief in the freedom of expression and freedom of speech as well, and association. And we believe that every newsroom has to be completely and absolutely free from external influence, be it the influence of an owner of a newspaper, an owner of a TV station, or an advertiser in a newspaper or a TV station should never influence what goes on inside the newsroom. Newsrooms are places where people must be left to decide how best to present the news to the public. Obviously, the issue around should the SABC have taken a decision not to show violence. The question, it's not so much about a decision not to show violence. The question is, if the newsroom decided to show violence and there was external pressure put on the newsroom not to do so, that would be wrong. And certainly I can tell you from our position, the ANC has not spoken to anyone in the SABC to say don't show violence. Secondly, I want to put one other matter to rest. No one in the SABC can claim that they receive instructions to cut out any political individual or party from the SABC's news. As far as we are concerned, the newsroom editor-in-chief is the only person who can make that decision, no one else. So we have been expressing concerns that have been brought to the ANC about the internal management of the SABC itself, and that is what Mr. Mthembu was expressing himself about, as well as our SG. It is not incorrect for us to express concern. The only person we're interested in speaking to as the ANC right now is the ANC Minister of Communications. We have to talk to her so that she can give us a full understanding of what her analysis is of what's going on in the SABC. Clearly, there is an issue, because there would not be such a major public outcry for and against positions. I also want to make it very clear that we absolutely support the SABC's decision on the 90% local content, because that is our policy position. We won't step away from that. And we will not deny that that is a policy position of the ANC that we already took in Polokwane, to say that the public broadcaster must give preference to South African production and creativity and become the catalyst for growing our own creative industry.
The United Nations